Hello everybody, my name is the Jurassic Insider and welcome back to Jurassic World, the game. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at every single common creature ever released in the game from A to Z, least expensive to most expensive in a showcase style. If you do want to see more videos like this, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll know to make more content like this in the future in showcase styles. Maybe we could do one for every single rarity. I've seen some people do it for every single class of creatures in the game, so I decided to adapt it in my own video as well as have my own commentary on it. So, with that being said, let's not waste any more of your time, and let's get started. Our adventure starts with the docile creature of the Triceratops right here, and just to let you guys know, I have all of these maxed out, but I'll show you each of the different evolutions while we're talking. But of course, this is the first ever creature you get in the game, regardless of how you play it. There's pretty much 100% guarantee that you're going to get this guy, so obviously he's pretty important. It's probably one of the first creatures you're ever going to get maxed out as well, which is pretty awesome, and especially pretty useful for whenever you have those big get a bunch of creatures to level 40 missions, which are super annoying. But hey, you got Triceratops for this, especially with how cheap it is, he or she, whatever you want to say, is. And she has the very respectable stats of 231 health with 59 attack, which, believe it or not, is not the lowest any common has. The other great thing that makes this creature really unique as well is the coin production. It's 992 per 5 minutes. Now, that is already a pretty decently high number for that ratio, but having a 5-minute coin rate is exclusive to only the Triceratops, which is pretty cool. Yep, so that's it for Triceratops. Let's move on. And next up is the Madagascar giant known as the Majungasaurus, the first carnivore you get in the game. He's also pretty awesome, just beats out the Triceratops in having slightly better stats with 224 health and 86 attack, lower health but higher attack. But yeah, this guy is really cool. Again, another one that you can get pretty high leveled pretty quickly, so that's pretty nice. And there's not much else to him. He's got a pretty awesome design in my opinion. I love the purple, as well as him being able to be the easiest access to a hybrid in this game. If you want to get a hybrid, you can get this guy and the Alanquois to make the cheapest hybrid in the game. Langosaurus, which is pretty cool as well. Triceratops doesn't have such a cheap hybrid, so it's nice that you at least have this guy if you're interested in that. So yeah, that is pretty much it for the game's first carnivore. Moving on, we have the Alanquois here. The Alanquois, of course, is the very first pterosaur right here, and you can see all his different evolutions as well. A big jump to his Evo 4, who has a pretty awesome design, if I do say so myself. And then the one they will probably get pretty frequently, not the strongest out there with 217 health and 83 attack, but it's definitely not the worst out there either, but by far the weakest pterosaur, which is something to keep in mind. But yeah, overall, this guy, not really much else to say, but you'll probably get him. I mean, you will get him, but yeah, let's move on. Okay, now we're going to break the mold a little bit here. Instead of going straight to the amphibians, we're going to move on to Majungasaurus, because he is next in line for DNA cost with 130 DNA to make him. And Majungasaurus is most famously known for if anything, to be quite literally the weakest creature in the game. There is pretty much no competition for that. The Bonitosaur does come pretty close. But yeah, this guy is pretty much worthless, 235 and 73. But I say worthless, yes, in combat, technically. But as many high-level players will know and tell you, the Majungasaurus might actually be the most used common. In fact, it might be the most used creature, period, strictly because of meat shields. Because whenever you see the lowest creature with the lowest stats in the game, Majungasaurus will be the first one there. So you'll probably end up clicking on it, which is pretty funny that he ends up being one of the most used creatures despite being the weakest. But yeah, he definitely has that going for him. And otherwise, he does have a pretty cool design, if I do say so myself. I think I like the Stegosaurus level 40 a little bit more, but we'll get to that eventually, hopefully. It might be far into the future once we do every single super rare creature out to get everything unlocked. And maybe we'll get everything until level 40. I don't know if that's a gimmick of the video yet, but anyways, let me not bore you with words, and let's move on. Back on track here, we have the first ever amphibian, Limnosceles, who is an absolutely atrociously ugly guy, but I think that is the appeal. Yeah, amphibians are not known for being the prettiest, but you know, at least they're scary. They do look scary. I will give them that. But another pretty cool guy. He makes the Limnosceles for a hybrid and has stats of 224 health and 57 attack, which I believe is the highest out of all 4 of the OG common boys. The 4 first commons you're supposed to theoretically get, at least. So yeah, not much else to say here, just kind of an ugly amphibian, but he definitely serves his purpose. Not much else to say. But I do have a little bit more to say about the Labyrinthodontia, because he makes one of my favorite hybrids in the game, the Labyrinthodontinosaurus, which is a super useful hybrid that I kind of want to max out at some point soon. Not to mention the design is awesome, especially the level 40 design, one of my favorite designs from the commons for level 40, the sail, the colors, everything about it. He's got a much more smooth appearance, a lot less wrinkly and old, so I like the design overall. The stats are pretty decent too, 199 health and 79 attack. I believe that makes it the strongest amphibian, not by a lot, but it is something to keep in mind. But overall, yeah, I just like this guy a lot, and I think he's pretty useful. And fun fact, he used to be the #1 amphibian, the first amphibian that you got in the game, but they switched it around, and now you can't even unlock it without doing an earth-shattering event, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Next up here on the roster is one of the rarest commons to get nowadays, which is a Colobranensis. Now, of course, in recent updates, and by recent I mean 2017 or 2018, it became a lot harder to get common and really any type of rarity of creature that you could normally unlock. You used to be able to unlock basically every creature in the game through battle stages. However, of course, now they've changed that, and you can only get a limited amount. The rest of them you have to get through earth-shattering event. And select few in the common category, including Colobranensis, only come in specific packs, and you can't get them in an event. Thankfully, I've been pretty lucky with him. I think probably through season passes, so I still have a ton of him. Almost enough to make 2 level 40s, not quite though. But still, he's pretty cool, still makes the Limnosceles. Not one of my favorite ever, but he's still okay. 238 health and 81 attack is nothing to sneeze at for a common, but that's pretty much it for this guy, not much else to say. And here's the second weak link herbivore, being none other than Bonitasaura. I have a soft spot for Bonita, because, yeah, I mean, it's just Bonita. She's a gentle giant. You can't really blame her for having terrible stats with 263 health and 67 attack. It's not the health that's bad. The health is totally, like, okay. But, yeah, that attack really needs some work. But, yeah, you go to take a look at all of the Evos here. Right there. And I think the level 40 design is pretty cool, all things considered. So, yeah. There's definitely a reason why this isn't a very well-respected creature, and it's not even like Tajungasaurus, where it's like funny to laugh at how weak it is, because it's not quite the weakest creature in the game, and you don't really use it for meat shields that often. But you know what? I think you got to give it some credit. It's not the worst thing out there. But a step up, a clear step up actually from that, is the Argentinosaurus, of course, the Argentine giant sauropod. Definitely has a name for itself, and I think it is one of the coolest commons for sure. Definitely one of the strongest with 281 health and 71 attack, which is quite a bit for a common, so that's pretty nice. Yeah, and I've always loved this guy. Again, he made the Labyrinthodontosaurus, which is one of my favorite hybrids, like I mentioned, and the level 40 design is pretty sick, so yeah, you definitely got to give it up for Argentinosaurus. Pretty cool. Next up, we've got Guanlong. Guanlong's always been a pretty weird one for me, because on this account specifically, I never got it until level 40 until quite late into the game. In fact, I think I had a level 40 legendary before I had a level 40 Guanlong. So that just kind of shows you how much I kind of neglected it. It's still a pretty cool creature though, over here with 255 health and 80 attack. He's one of the more health-sided carnivores, at least in the common range. But with Majungasaurus being the first carnivore and Utahraptor being the strongest and the strongest common, it's never really had much of a place, Guanlong, but you know, that's okay. I still think it's cool. Design never has been one of my favorites. Like, the orange just doesn't really work for me, but I like the base level design enough. Overall, still, you gotta have those middle creatures that you don't really care about all that much, but you're just kind of glad they're there. And this is exactly one of those. I still have no idea why I have so few of them, though. Pelecanamimus is another creature that's fairly difficult to get nowadays, actually. And I haven't even claimed all of the rewards yet for maxing this guy out, but it's got a super sick design, so I'd say it's definitely worth it. Although, again, it's pretty difficult, and you basically just get it by chance. There's really no other way, but otherwise, it's not really that big of a deal, because it's pretty cool. So, yeah, it's just going to be another creature that, despite how good it is with the 266 health and 83 attack, which is really good for a common, despite that, you're not going to be able to get it really easily, so I'd say most of the time, most people are going to be worried about getting it, and especially Hatzigopteryx, which is its partner hybrid, also can't be unlocked through battle stage and only a event. A lot of people, I wouldn't recommend going for Pelecanopteryx. A lot of people don't end up going for that, so overall, this doesn't end up being one of the most used creatures, at least in my opinion, unless you get lucky with it. Maybe you find an event for it, I'm not sure. But overall, yeah, just another kind of filler one, if you ask me. And here comes the prize jewel of the common pterosaurs for me. This is the Tropoganathus. And I think this guy's really cool. Definitely the favorite, or my favorite at least, of the common pterosaurs. With 260 health and 81 attack. That's really good. And you end up getting him in your first card pack. They programmed it in a way that every single person gets Tropoganathus in their first ever mystery pack. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, just a really enjoyable one. Pretty cool tribal design, I think, especially. I think it fits the area. And yeah, I just always really like this one. Don't really have much of an explanation, so let's just move on. And wrapping up the amphibian category here, we have the Diplocalus. And the Diplocalus has those devil red eyes. That is the most important thing to recognize about this guy. But otherwise, he's just pretty standard. He makes the Diplotator. He's got 284 health and 73 attack, which again, just kind of middle of the road. But you do end up unlocking him, and you don't have a lot. You really have no amphibian options in the early game that are all that great. So it's really nice that you do have a creature like this Diplocalus, who isn't too expensive, although compared to some other creatures around the same stats, it is a bit on the expensive side, I guess. So yeah, if that's a big concern, then yeah, that is something to keep in mind. But otherwise, I think he's perfectly fine and perfectly good. Wrapping up the pterosaur category here, we have the Hatzigopteryx. And this is a huge bird. You can pretty much tell the size just by looking at it in-game. But yeah, it's pretty massive. But yeah, definitely a really cool one. Its Earth-Shattering event pops up quite often, so it's not one of the super rare ones, which is pretty nice. But you do still have to do an Earth-Shattering event, which those can be kind of frustrating, especially if you have to use a specific class. But otherwise, the stats are definitely worth it. 253 health and a good 97 attack, approaching 100 attack for a common. It's pretty dang good. So yeah, definitely not the worst creature out there. Definitely pretty good, I'd say. I enjoy it quite a bit. And of course, it makes Pelecanopteryx the strongest common in the game. I just don't think a lot of people end up getting there that often. And by the time you do unlock both this and Pelecanamimus, or at least have enough to make a level 40, at that point, you're probably already making other much better, much stronger, much more resourceful hybrids. But still, not again, a nice one to have, which is kind of how I feel about the entire common collection outside of the OGs. And finally, wrapping up the common collection, we have by far my favorite of these guys. Not just because he's the strongest, but I love the Utahraptor as a creature in general. I just think it's one of my favorite dinosaurs. I love the cunning, smart aspect to him, as well as the feathery design, and just in general the intellect of what's presumed about the creature. Of course, you can never really confirm anything, but I always thought that was really cool. And of course, you got to think about the stats too in game. 259 health and 99 attack, meaning it is just touching 100 at that point, which is pretty cool. So you can make this guy have like 150 attack, which is really awesome for a common. I've just always loved this guy, and I think he's super cool. Unfortunately, you can't unlock him anymore unless you're doing an event, which that would be so nice if you didn't have to do that. But it's okay, and it makes one of my favorite hybrids in the game as well, Spinoraptor. So you get to combine another one of my favorite dinosaurs together with this Utahraptor, and I think it's pretty cool that that is an option. But anyways, guys, that pretty much wraps it up for this video, this showcase video, looking at every single comment in Jurassic World game. Please let me know if you want to see another video like this in the future. I'd be happy to take any suggestions, and hopefully we'll do rare, but that might take some time. So in the meanwhile, if you want to see any type of other showcase style that's doable at the level, in-game level I'm at right now, let me know. It doesn't always have to be creatures, it could be showcasing anything in the game, but I hope you definitely did get something, even if you knew all this information, or if you just want to use this for some other purpose and you're discovering this video much later. Whatever it is, I'm glad you found some kind of value out of it, hopefully, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching. This is the Jurassic Insider, signing out.